Hey guys, I'm here. Welcome back. Today we'll be checking out a video I feel like I probably should have checked out a long time ago, and that is the music video Addict for HAZBIN Hotel. You know, back when we finished season 1, this was originally still on the docket to be done back then, but just like things just kind of kept coming up and I just kept pushing it away. I was like, right now a music video maybe doesn't fit with posting this on the channel at the moment. And then it's just one thing after the other, and there was a time or two where I was tempted to watch it on my own, but then I was just kind of like, well, I've reacted to everything else, I might as well still do this, and then that cycle just kept repeating. But I'm excited to check it out. This video came out in 2020, so it's been a hot minute. It's been out for 4 years. It's with the original VAs and performers of the songs from what I am aware of. Obviously, the title is really all I have to go on. Based on the thumbnail, I know it is an angel-centric song. It's 5.5 minutes, which is impressive. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I am aware, this is still canon to Angel's story, even as it connects to the show when it came out on Amazon. I'm excited to check it out. Angel's one of my favorite characters from the show, so let's go ahead and see if this one breaks our heart. I'm expecting it probably will. Here we Valentino. So dramatic.
Till death do us part, but we're already past.
That was a sick image.
This is a brand new start, and I think I deserve some praise for the way that I am. Despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, I don't give a damn. I've let my emotions go, fuck being a sober hoe. This is the mantra, this is my life. You're playing with now till the end of the night. Surrounded by fire, the passion ignites. A hidden that heaven and hell are out of the eye. I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in. I'm addicted.
Oh wow. Dude, what the hell is it with Poison in this being such a goddamn bop, but so heartbreaking? Like, I'm sitting here, like, just with that, I'm just bopping while my eyes just are tearing up. It's such a contradiction. Oh, wait. Who was that?
So count your blessings, cause this is it. You're not letting it go. So what if I misbehave? It's what everybody craves. You already know.
It's what everybody craves. Whoa, holy shit. Yeah, who is that?
I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn it.
This song is fucking fire, though.
Again. again.
God, that song was so fucking good. Holy shit. Damn. Whoo. Let's, oh. Love this beat. Oh.
I'm addicted to the sorrow. When the buzz ends by tomorrow, there's another rush of poison flowing into my veins, giving me a dose of pleasure that resides by the pain. I'm addicted, I'm dependent.
Aww, fat nuggets.
Feeling helpless, and I know
that fucking flicker, dude.
Maybe things won't be so terrible inside this hotel.
God damn, dude. Holy shit. I love that a lot of this carried over and got some semblance of not resolution, but at least progression and growth away from all of this. This idea, because we explore it obviously in episode 4, the abuse, the relationship between Angel and Valentino, and the way that their addictions kind of create this distance between having to deal with any of those emotions, all of that, struggle and pain that, Angel goes through on a daily basis, just being in this situation. He talks about, the pleasure coinciding right next to the pain, and that's because there's this need to numb oneself so that you're not thinking about what's happening. All you're doing in the moment there is flooding your system with all these chemicals that are, giving you this feeling of dopamine, of excitement, of happiness, this kind of disconnect from what's happening, or this alteration of what is actually happening. If it's like a hallucinogen or something like that, it's like altering your perceptions both physically and mentally, so you don't have to deal with the reality of the situation. Part of it too is it creates this personality. It's like, this is what I need to be. This is what you want me to be. That's what Valentino wants at the end of the day. Somebody that's happy, somebody that's there, is going to perform, do everything, and just take it. But at the end of the day, when all of this drains away and you're left with just yourself and the reality of the situation, you see these moments where we're glimpsing Angel in his apartment with Cherri, just coming down, withdrawals, facing the heartbreak of what's going on, and not being able to deal with it. That's why this addiction just kind of feeds itself. It's like adding fuel to a fire. When you come down from that and then reality sets in, you just can't deal with it. So you just want to go right back there. And then the more you do it, the more you need to even get back to that same point, because your body just gets accustomed to it. So you just gotta keep pushing. It's a monster that just constantly is feeding itself. And I'm glad that, I'm coming back into this, having seen obviously future events and how things have unfolded, and how Angel has been able to actually find some kind of way forward and path towards healing, thanks to Charlie and the hotel and his friends that he's made and all these other things, and finding this empowerment, especially with that, little endeavor with Husk, that he was able to respect himself a little bit more and find value in who he is, which is really difficult coming from the situation that he's in, because it's not like Angel dislikes sex. He's having his own vices manipulated. What happens when things you enjoy genuinely and that are a part of your being? Like, he's comfortable with his sexuality. He loves the idea, the playfulness of it. He loves the intimacy. But then part of that gets corrupted by this negative force, and then you have to untangle those two to where you're not ashamed by the things you used to enjoy because it was associated with this other thing. So there's it's like everything is healthier in moderation, and then, it's just now, these days that Valentino has him forced into, it's insane. That's where things get excessive. That's where the addiction comes in, to help you make it just through the day without wanting to just check out. And then that line that always breaks my heart when watching the episode is that when he's like, hey, if the more I try to ruin myself, like maybe I won't be his favorite toy. Maybe he'll stop playing with me. If I can break myself so much, maybe I'll finally be free of the situation that I'm in. Because you never know what happens. You know, these abusive relationships, when they kick off like this, you know, you can be tricked by this allure, by their charisma, by all these things, or maybe they have access to something you want, you need, whether it's money or access to these things that are helping you make it through your day. As you know, obviously, this is a part of Angel that carried on from his living world that has followed him here, was this addiction, this pain, because like you said, that's how he ended up here. He OD'd. Or at least that's the implication that I've got from the show and then this. And then obviously having to wake up in hell and deal with all this, it's just like, well, how do you escape that? You know, and maybe that's how they came together. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not really all that certain. But either way, it just gets exacerbated, and then that's held over you. Your access to these things, the stardom, the recognition, the power that comes with it. When you're allowed to wield it, then the truth comes out. Then the revelation happens with who you actually signed yourself over to. I'm not sure like if it's known the situation or circumstance that led to Valentino owning Angel's soul, but I can imagine it's possibly something similar to this. I know people that have gotten themselves into some really abusive situations with a lover, with a business. It goes hand in hand, man. A lot of times it's all the same kind of stuff. It can be extremely scary. I have a friend of mine who got themselves into a really fucked up situation, and God, it was luck that they were able to break out of that, to be real. And thankfully, they've got themselves out of it. They are in a much better place right now with a much better person, and it's just nice to see that, you know, there's an out, because sometimes there isn't always. Sometimes there is the negative aspect of that, and it just makes me glad that to see the Angel hopefully coming on to another point, and that with Pinchas's sacrifice, and we learn that redemption is a possibility. But I feel like we gotta deal with the soul ownership bit before Angel can have that happy ending. But at least for right now, he's standing up for himself. Our contract only says that you own me in the studio, which is why Valentino hates him being outside of the building, outside of V Tower, outside of their, you know, domain. You know, him being at the hotel, you know, means he's free to do whatever he wants. He hates that. I like that for Angel, you know, being able to step away in that moment of the club when he's standing up for Nifty, when he's standing up for himself. Yeah, Valentino smacks him down to the ground, but he still stood his ground to set his piece. It's like, hey man, you don't own me out here. You only own me over there. I read the contract. I signed it. I know what I got myself into. Fuck off. All that comes from being able to support himself now because he's got that confidence. He's got a support structure that isn't enabling him. And I like too that it's not only dealing with Angel and what he's experiencing here, this, you know, abusive situation that he's got himself in with Valentino, but just the friendship as well with Cherry Bomb, you know, getting to see just how close these two are. And, you know, while he's drowning himself in all of this, Cherri is like also kind of chasing her own addiction, which is explosives. You know, this kind of anarchy vibe that she's got going on. You know, she loves the chaos. She loves all of it. But there's this line in this video where she's talking about, well, that's what you also want and expect of me as well. So it's like, hey, you asked for it, you got it. And I don't know how that ties into her past, because very much so when that line was delivered, we saw that specter over her shoulder. Her expression dropped. We saw her being a little more sullen until she set off those explosives and went right back into it. And I'm wondering if it's similar to Angel, where her enjoyment of these things, her passions, her hobbies have been entangled in this distractive element. You know, for her, she's just like, I can't face this. So as long as I'm heading forward, as long as I'm partying, as long as I'm making noise and blowing stuff up, I don't have to worry about whatever it is I'm carrying around. But also, that same persona she's keeping up for Angel as well, because it's not just her. So I think that has a little bit of a dual meaning there, because we see in those moments when it flashes back, you know, when Angel's coming down from his high and is just, you know, going into withdrawals or facing the demons that are literally surrounding them right now and his situation. She's still there comforting him. So I think part of that too is she's leaning into that, you know, chaotic party animal aspect of herself, of her personality, to also help keep Angel from devolving and falling into these pits. Because if she's able to, you know, distract herself, she can be a distraction for him as well. And I think that also leads us into what we see later in the show when she's trying to kind of do that as well. But I think it's more out of habit at that point, when she's trying to enable him at the club, when she's kind of being the devil on his shoulder, and Husk is trying to kind of talk him down and keep him from breaking like his progression. You know, up until this point, Angel had been completely all for because of the way he had been dealing with his own stuff. But now they're on two different wavelengths and they have this little bit of a disconnect. So now with him kind of coming down and her not being ready to face that, she's like, okay, I'm not ready, because I'm sure that the moment she starts to come down, she's going to have to wrestle with whatever it is she's running from. We all have that friend sometimes that like kind of feeds into our negative aspects because it's fun, it keeps the energy alive, and that's her own way of distracting herself from what's going on. She's got to keep on going. As long as there's some distraction, some energy, some party, something she's given herself into, the explosions that she's got, the chaos that she's wreaking, she doesn't have to come down and face that little break we saw in her character in this, where she's lamenting this figure that I'm not familiar with. We saw her expression completely drop, but then she set off the explosives and it was just right back. And I'm not sure if we're going to explore like her side of things. I would imagine like with everything that's going on, and I think that they've said that there's going to be more of her in season 2. So I wonder if we're going to dive into that. Obviously, right now, she's not seeking redemption. She's not after it. And, you know, not everybody's going to be ready to actually take that path. But I'm wondering if we're going to explore that at some point. Because I think that this was definitely teed up. There's definitely a little bit of a intel there that I'd like to see them explore. Because that figure, I don't know who it was. Initially, when I was looking at it, I thought that was meant to be Angel. But it definitely was not. Let's just look at the design. The hair is very similar, and maybe that's what draws her to Angel. Maybe it's a brother, like a sibling of some kind, family member or whatever. Maybe there's some kinship she finds in Angel that she had found previously, and whoever this is, when she's, you know, we cut to her bit and she's walking down the alley, steps on the water that initially, before she disturbs it, has that image. And then when she's up there, that moment before she sets off that massive haul of explosives, we see her facade drop for a second, and then there's that shadow creeping over of this person who has a singular eye, just like she does, has like this Australian style hat, which I remember right in the pilot, and at this point, they weren't doing the accent thing for her. Like, there wasn't that aspect of it. And maybe that was an aspect of the character that was developed over time, and then that's what they decided to actually lean into in the show. But like that hat just reminds me like Crocodile Dundee. So like it just makes me think of those things. But it also, I don't know. It's like this amalgamation of like this dapper Australian kind of vibe that kind of hints towards like the mafia aspects of Angel as well as that. So it just maybe that's what brings them together. There's a lot about them that I'd really love to explore a little bit more. Yeah, obviously like she was a little bit of that alternative, like his past just kind of clawing at him, like the devil on his shoulder, versus Husk being like, hey, I thought you were better than this, when he was being tempted at the club. I'm not sure what the story is going to look like for her moving forward, but at least we know that Angel is working on himself and is coming out of that. And even at that point, like we're talking about, moderation is a thing. You know, he's able to have a good time, had a couple of drinks, but he didn't lose himself. He didn't like completely disappear or backpedal fully into that moment. And it just shows that he's kind of coming into a more healthy position with himself, and how to say no to those people that maybe in his life are not ready to explore redemption, explore facing their own vices and escape them themselves, like with Cherri, so that they can have this relationship and not kind of conflict with each other. I don't know. I liked all of that. I like that we at least know that in the future going forward, which is nice. Because while Cherri played her part during Angel's life at that point, you know, for better or for worse, he was at least going through it with somebody else, even if that person and himself were kind of this kind of self-fueling machine that they both provided for each other. They were very symbiotic. They were feeding each other's addictions in one way or another, whether knowingly or not. That was kind of the relationship they created for themselves. But at this point, you know, she's still doing on her own thing. You know, she's still around and she's okay and actually happy with where he is at the moment. She's not there yet, but I think that's going to be around the corner for her. But at least he's got like Charlie in the gang, and especially somebody like Husk, who was able to just see through all the fakeness, the facade that he was putting up to hide and mask all that pain, all of that insecurity, all of that false bravado. Husk was able to just call his bluff and see right through that poker face to find the real him. And it wasn't really until Husk confronted him that Angel was able to look at himself, I think, for the first time and not be completely disgusted with everything that's transpired. You know, Husk was able to be there and help him find value in who he really is and to be okay with that. All those aspects of himself that has been corrupted by being trapped with Valentino, Husk was able to kind of help him find some semblance of comfort and warmth in his own skin for a second. He's like, hey man, we're all losers. This is a shit situation, but we're here in this together. Just like High School Musical, baby, we are all in this together. That little bond that they created right there is just the healthy relationship I think that he needs. It's the first step towards building something that isn't rooted in some sort of coping mechanism that he had been using to get by. You know, I don't know. So that's going to be exciting to see how all of that evolves as they move forward, especially considering the V's are going to be our next big focus. So it's nice at least coming into this and knowing that it gets better. Like, it's not great, you know, it's still a shitty situation that he's in, but he's taking the steps to own his life. And I love that. You know, and I don't know, it's just fascinating to see the way this character, one, has evolved in such a short amount of time when you're looking at like how much screen time we have, you know, because when you're looking at this, obviously this came out 4 years ago, and there's been a lot of like talk and stuff like that, speculation, you know, discussions with Viv and live streams and stuff like that. But if we're talking like things we as the viewer actually see, like there's not a lot of time that's actually transpired, but they do so much with such little time. And the amount of effort and detail that goes into all of these, and this little animation here, this music video for this song specifically, was also just beautifully done. And I like also coming back to this and seeing how things have evolved over the years, how their techniques have changed, how it's been refined, you know, because this has a little bit of a roughness to it that we don't quite see at this point, because, you know, it's I don't know, it's got this endearing quality of it. It definitely shows like the evolution of the animation studio as a whole. But guys, I'm sure you guys know a lot more about this than I do, obviously, at this point. You know, I've made my journey through all of HAZBIN Hotel and all of Helluva Boss up until this point, but there's like been years of live streams, of discussions with Viv as she's kind of cultivated and built this world out that you guys are way more intimately entangled with than I can ever be at this point if you've been following since the beginning. Which, speaking of, I did want to like throw this out there, because while talking at Level Up Expo with some of the people that actually work at Spindlehorse, they did say that a lot of things that maybe was said on any of the live streams or the Q&As may not necessarily be true anymore. They did say that a lot of things have changed since some things have been said online. So that still leaves the door open, but I still think having that knowledge is still fun to see what has been said, what ideas have been floated around all the same, and to see how that changes over time as we head deeper into the series and what they decide to keep, what they decide to alter or play with. I think that's kind of cool and fun. Coming into it as late as I am right now, obviously there's just so much that I'm not easily going to be able to get into. So that's where you guys come in. So if you got any intel on any of this, I would love to know what you guys think. You know, behind the scenes information about this song, the creation, the imagery within. Because I know like a lot of you guys, even like when the little teasers came out for season 2, or the little like behind the scenes stuff they put out for season 2, you guys were like, oh, I recognize that. That's this sketch from this point or whatever, you know? So it's like, this is that character that she talked about all these years ago. you know, they're finally showing up, you know, so like there's stuff like that, which is kind of interesting that, I don't know, maybe there's something in there like that you guys could shed some light on. Now that I've finally watched this, you know, I've been asked a couple times if I do any kind of like tier lists or ranking videos or anything like that. And I've done like some top 10s in the past before, but I haven't really done anything in a long time, let alone a tier list. But now that I've actually listened to all of these songs, now that I've crossed off Addict, I'm wondering if like maybe I'll do a live stream or a video where we kind of go through all of the Hellaverse songs and put them into a tier list. Would you guys be interested in that? Let me know. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off because I'm just kind of rambling at this point. So I just want to hear from you guys. Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We're carrying the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed the reaction. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already, and hope you stick around because we will be reacting to each and every little piece of content that comes out from this universe because I am kind of obsessed at this point, if it's not obvious. But guys, if you haven't seen my reactions to Helluva Boss or HAZBIN Hotel, go check those out. With that all said, before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Cherri, York Scott, Melito, Robert Anguiano, Jeffrey Hale, Jake Cottrell, Eric Official, Casey Wood, and Russell Crockett. Thank you guys so much for continued support. But that's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.